sense, we'd be saying, what a great game we've got ahead of us. The 2015 champions of the DAC going up against the 2017 DAC champions. However, things have changed over the last 12 months for both of these teams. Some for better, the other one for very much poorer. IG are struggling so far in their group, as expected. They are 2 and 3, although they have guaranteed a place at least in the playoffs. So that's good news, Jack, isn't it?
Yeah. As far as what to play for, I think... Actually, regardless of the outcome of this match, they still have a chance to play Mineski tomorrow to secure that second place, or at least a tiebreaker for second place.
Aren't they both for poor?
What?
Aren't they both for poor?
Well, they kind of are.
On
yeah,
the
compared to the original DAC,
they win one TI.
Right. Yes.
So unless this EG is going to keep up that kind of performance.
Technically, you're right. Yes, yes. They both are poorer. One's poorer.
Yeah,
I guess.
There's definitely a big difference.
There is definitely a big difference. Yeah, so yeah, they can't catch Mineski now, so they can't play in the top 2. That's for absolute certain, because Mineski are 5 and 1 now, and IG are 2 and 3. So they're not going to be able to catch Mineski. So they will at least be in the playoffs. That's something, I guess.
Oh, sorry, I meant EG. But
yeah, for EG. Oh, yeah. I mean, for EG, that's the big thing here, Lacoste, isn't it? Because Destiny is in their own hands now. They play Mineski tomorrow in the final game of the group stages, which means if they can beat IG here, they're both 5 and 1, which means it's straightforward. Whoever wins tomorrow gets second place. No one else has a shot of it. Now, if on the other hand EG lose this game against IG, they go 4 and 2. Which means if they beat Mineski tomorrow, they'll be 5 and 2, and so will Mineski, and potentially so are Secret if they can beat Virtus Pro.
That's just way too much for me. I need to see that on the screen.
You need to be plugged into Knoxville as well, don't you? That's what I got at the break. I went away and plugged myself into Knoxville, and I got all the formulations. Yeah, he gave me all the formulations in my head, and I knew exactly what was going on. I mean, we should worry about that tomorrow, really, Cap, although... Do you just look at this game and just think, this is an EG win?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do
think...
Right.
Well, we're done. Thanks very much for tuning in.
All right. Well, good job, EG. I think that Evil Geniuses is... I mean, in general, I think that IG is just a worse team. Evil Geniuses, I think I would consider them in that 1.5 area still. I still would not put them up at the tier 1 status simply because they need to consistently beat like VP, Liquid, Secret, but
which they have started to do over the last month or 2.
Yeah, but it just hasn't been like, like they haven't really established it yet. So kind of in there with like I would kind of put Mineski in that same kind of tier as well. And IG is just a step, if not.
I'm glad
a couple of steps down. Yeah.
I'm glad that EG's finally found their game the way they pick. It's not only this cookie cutter strats with a lot of push. The drafting changed a little bit, and what they're doing well is playing greedy, which seems to pay off in this meta current. You go for Tricore, you always have a Sumail on Leshrac, Pugna, Void, a hero that scales well. All of them love to have a lot of farm, and right now they love to play position 4/5, Nature's Prophet, and then you have another core who also scales well, so it's basically a 4-core lineup.
It seemed like their initial change was going to be very constricting to the draft in the way that they kind of always had to give Sumail either a 1v1 and do some sort of aggro dual lane, or they had to give him like a really good dual lane like the Beastmaster Coddle that they did at the start. But it does feel like it is weirdly liberating, the fact that they have this change, this very unique idea that they're going to buff up Sumail so much and not sacrifice their quote-unquote off-laner in Sumail. Just simply because of the fact that he has the versatility to be able to play a lot of different heroes and is able to still run into that mid lane and play these, Leshrac, Pugnas type heroes. So.
We've talked about sacking lanes a lot in this meta, and it's been quite a popular thing. EG, for many months now, it seems, have just decided that Fear is that person.
Yes.
And they're just going to sack his lane, and he kind of copes with it, okay. And it's basically because the man has so much experience, he can cope with that, right?
Yeah, it seems like NA teams love to do that. Optic runs it as well. Most of the time they sacrifice CCNC's farm so they can prioritize Pycat's farm, and also 33 plays pretty aggressive and greedy style of a off-laner. So we have what? Dragonite AA. Pretty cool opening for EG. On the other side, Bounty Hunter. I don't like Bounty to start with. It doesn't just feel right, especially since the mid towers are closer to each other, so you don't have enough space to work with. Most of the time, you're just focusing on either safe lane or an off lane.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. This is definitely not DAC 2017, where the Bounty Hunter was quite powerful, and IG won with that. This is a different meta, and these 4 positions need to be more teamfight heavy than Bounty Hunter is able to give you.
Yeah, and you're playing against a Dragonite on mid, most likely. They can still switch things around. So what are you going to do with Bounty? Sniff his armpit?
So could be a bit of
real
a
nice.
could be a bit of a deny pick. I mean, a lot of things you guys said there. The mid lane isn't viewed by many teams as important as it was before. Obviously, like a few patches ago, there was the extra creep, a lot of experience. It was a little bit easier to gank as well, so you'd see these 2-on-2s and 3-on-3s taking place mid. That's also the case now, so you can kind of stick a hero there who isn't going to get killed or dumpstered. You'll be able to pressure the tower and expect not too much to be committed, and that hero is a steady role in the game. But your game-winning heroes often come from the side lanes. And then you talk about scaling, you talk about EG, like they've always had this style where they have the team philosophy of we have the best individual players at their position in the world. We expect them to be able to take over if they have farm. You talk about Sumail, you talk about Artur. You've seen what they can do when things go well for them. So for them to find an abusive lane matchup into scaling, that's always kind of been their core philosophy. They've tried to play a little bit faster lately, and with some good results as well. So I think IG for the Bounty Hunter, I mean, they pick first, so it might have been something like a deny pick as well. This is something that Misery likes to run quite a bit on EG. Having a Vision hero, they haven't picked it as much lately, but having Vision to kind of secure your core's farm and make the right rotations, that's been a big part of their game plan.
Everything you said, Jack, makes a lot of sense, but I got a real question. Crit, he always has the same style haircut, but he travels a lot, so who does his hair?
Fear.
I think he has one of his teammates just like shave his sides.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, it's not the same hairstylist.
It is always buzzed on the side. Like it is always real close.
It would
cut.
not surprise me if one of these team did it.
Yeah.
But do you know the only teammate I would not let cut my hair in that team is Bulba. Like you just would never let Sam near your hair.
Well, I wouldn't give Sam scissors to
begin exactly
with, so.
my point. Or a razor or any form of cutting device anywhere near my head.
Nail clipper.
No. Love him, but he's clumsy as hell, and I can't even bring myself to think.
Did we ever see Bulba's hair?
I've seen it. Yeah.
I've seen it recently. He actually got it cut short.
Did, yeah.
For any, I know the audience hasn't seen it. That's for goddamn sure. That X game, according to the audience every single over the years they've been looking at Bulba. They probably thought that X game was like a permanent fixture on his head. Like somehow he had some sort of weird nail gun accident and pop pop pop, and it just nailed it into his head or something.
It's Loda-like actually. It's just
it
really is.
Loda's also the
discount Loda. Huh?
Wow.
That's our Bulba. This already feels like EG has a lot more advantage. You have a Slaughter who's been pretty popular, received huge buff, that 10% less physical damage, I mean, wall damage in general.
Also speed buff as well?
Speed buff was reduced 12 to 10 seconds, but he still has that river buff.
Yeah.
Against a hero like a Clockwork and Bounty Hunter, that's really strong. They have a good setup as well. AA Slaughter, not as strong as some other combos, but still fine. You can always have a good catch, and you have 2 reliable stuns as well.
The Clockwork is a decent response to the Slaughter, and it's also going to be able to kill Ancient Apparition pretty easily, but I kind of wonder how well it's going to be able to rotate into mid, and later you're going to have these 4 staffs, so I'm just not too sure about it. IG really got to shore up their laning phase. And get a lot of team fight. When you have this Bounty Hunter, you have to make absolutely sure that you have better team fight the enemy team, because Bounty Hunter himself does not give a whole lot to you in that regard, and you got to take advantage of the track somehow to get these kills.
There's been a signature hero for this team. It's over the last few months, it's been this Morphling. Arteezy's Morphling has been very good
all the time against these Razors and Gyrocopters. There's so many heroes in the meta right now that the Morphling is quite good at.
Yeah.
Simply because turning into the enemy hero and getting Flat Cannon or getting, in this case, Static Link. I thought they were going to maybe go for the SF. Instead, it's the OD against the Morphling. Makes a lot of sense.
I like some of the IG picks in terms of as counter pickers. If you think about the Razor against the DK, if you think about OD against DK and the Morphling as well, because with the amount of damage the OD can output, it makes it harder for the Morphling to play at really low HP. It's possible to just get blown up, and so that neutralizes some of the heroes. So I like that, but in terms of like overall composition, I have to give a pretty big edge to EG here. I think they have a lot of setup, a lot of synergy. What the AA does is, again, provide global presence out of that support position that very few 4s and 5s have, so they can do what they do, just stay in their lanes, be as efficient as possible, push down their lanes, but suddenly, with just a one-hero rotation and the AA from elsewhere, they have kill potential on anyone. So I like the synergy of EG more. It seems to fit a more coherent playstyle, and they have more threats, it feels, going into the stretch. I feel like IG have to be very tight in their lane play this game to have a chance.
Yeah, once they get that mobile items on side of EG, Shadowblade or Blink on the Dragon Knight, same goes for Slaughter, plus that AA ulti, Morphling appearing out of nowhere, they can easily set up those ganks pretty much, even from the fog.
Yeah,
it's a very unusual IG lineup. I was just looking through some of their most played, and none of these feature anywhere near the most played heroes of any of the players so far. The closest we've got is the Bounty, which is the 4th most played from Baboka over the last few months. So not comfort picks at all here.
Yeah, it's like they went all out on counter picking. And if you take that philosophy, you're not going to get to play comfort picks as frequently because you're picking what's best in the situation versus something that you're used to. I'd also do like the.
I mean, if you have confidence, that's okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a harder style to pull off. If you talk about teams like Wings or other teams who are counter pickers, like you need a lot of confidence. You need to be able to play different compositions well to pull it off. I do like that the OD carries some save with him as well, because again we talked about the quickness with which someone can get blown up by this AG lineup.
This last pick is presumably an aggressive hero. They've usually saved it till last, and the OD is usually played by XXS. So
I would say the Razor is more likely the aggressive hero.
Right.
It feels like
right.
It would be kind of a nice hero that he would run. And okay, so we're gonna have the Clockwork Core, and we're gonna transfer this over to a Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, well they couldn't pick because they had Bounty and the Clockwork, so one of them. I mean, Clockwork had to go off lane.
Yeah,
really
that pulls it back
lanes.
to a bit more comfort. For them, because the Shaman is one of Q's better heroes.
So that gives them some tower damage because they do not have pretty much any. All of these heroes are really bad at hitting towers besides Razor after he sucks some damage.
EG also misread that as well because they banned an offlaner, and they will go with the Visage. Nice. Good call.
They just need some sort of early game general team fighting, because they've got the late game, well, not necessarily guaranteed because the OD matchup against the Morphling, but I do think EG would feel very comfortable pushing this in that 35-minute area. They just need to make sure that their lanes don't go terribly against the Razor, Shadow Shaman. Like, these kind of heroes can really shut you out if you end up with the wrong laning configuration. So.
Yeah, Razor's often seen as a Visage counter, and against being able to chase off these two supports and just kill them or disrupt the Shadow Shaman. I really like EG's draft in this game. I feel like IG pretty much have to dominate in lanes and then win immediately, or they don't really have a chance with this game going forward. Their team fight is very weak, so I'm going to pick EG this game.
All right, so the longer it goes, the harder it gets for IG.
All three of the cores are not really going to be interrupted too much by Bounty Hunter. Feels like that first pick was a huge liability to IG for the draft, EG.
If IG wants to win, they need to play perfectly from the start till the end. But they are known as a team right now that makes a lot of bad calls, and I prefer EG's lineup overall. So, USA.
USA, all the way. 3 out of 3 for EG as far as the panel are concerned. Tough odds to go up against for IG. They're also up against tough odds in terms of the position they're in this group as well. It doesn't make a great deal of difference because they have qualified, but they'd like to win one at the end of the day of day 3. Let's head back to our commentary team. Toby1, it's all yours.
Thanks, Red. Yeah, it's the last game of the day, and now the panel have all gone for Evil Geniuses. I already, like, we were sitting here both saying, yeah, EG, like, they're looking fantastic. We agree with everything the panel said, except it's the fact the panel said it, which makes me want to instantly think about it a second time. Are we certain that EG have the more solid draft?
Yeah, I think
they have the late game.
It's hard to. The Visage pick is perfect. We saw that coming together from like the openers on.
Yeah.
And somehow it sneaks all the way through to last pick. It's got incredible matchups against every hero. I like the Rasta and the OD. I think IG completed their lineup well, and it gave them at least the tools to win. But
That was a concern, right? Like the tools you're talking about is the ability to actually look for kills and the ability to not have a terrible laning phase for SRF because he doesn't work well against the Morphling.
Yeah, but I look at EG. They're all on comfort heroes. Like the AA Slardar dual roam support combo is like super strong in lane and to find kills. They've got Sumail on DK, Fear on his trademark Visage, and then Arteezy on Morphling. So they have damage of all types. They've got good timings, good tempo, and it just feels like IG need to run away with the game to win. They need a lot of track kills, and they need this OD just balling out of control.
Yeah, do you actually think Baboka can get this momentum? We haven't, well, we haven't actually got to cast a bounty game at all so far this tournament.
Yeah.
For our series. How do you think it works for this series? Like, where does Bounty put the pressure points? Like, who's he looking to harass? Who can he harass? Because it seems rather difficult against like heroes like DK and Visage to really do anything.
You need to play into this this top lane as he is now. Like, you just play with the Razor in the roster. That's the key. And you just try. It's hard, though, because this is what you do against a bounty. You just try lane. EG knows this, and they're going to force him to play as just a support hero, not a roamer. This protects their courier, protects their mid lane, and down bottom there's just going to be a DK trading. Although it looks like they may just run all the way over and swap completely.
Yeah, they're already moving. So SRF is making his way up from the bottom. He did this underneath the Radiant Observer ward. So if EG also want to move for this, they can do so. So yeah, Aggressive will take the bottom lane as the Razor versus the DK. He's going to be a creep wave and a half late to the bottom lane.
Unfortunately, Sumail blocked too well for his own good, just too talented, so he actually had to farm it under tower. The big timing to watch for is the super earn. They need a Spirit Vessel on the Bounty Hunter or the Clock ASAP. It is like the counter to the DK and the Morphling specifically.
Well, Fear can finally be harassed. He's only got Grave Chill, Baboka, with some nice blocks, but it's a 1-point Arcane Orb and 4 Arcane Orbs, and the OD is dry. He does not want to be burning this until he at least has the option for the Essence Aura to proc.
Yeah. This is the Chinese mid OD style, especially against end heroes. You don't necessarily go for kills, but you put a couple points in Orb and max your E, and you just look to trade and get more damage. Because you're stealing a damage and giving one to yourself, and it just adds up over time, and then you just look to just out CS.
The Radiant Courier actually did get sniped out, so Fear was looking for the salve, and it just will never come again. He's still got his original one.
It's a big, this is everything IG wants. They got the lanes they wanted, and the Courier died, so this is perfect for them.
Baboka is stalking crit bottom lane. The shackles are out. Aggressive's got all the time in the world to steal this damage from Sumail. Baboka will slow him down too. Orb of Venom only is the extra slow, but it's more than enough. Sumail will die in the trees, and that's that kill potential you're talking about by having that Shaman 5th pick.
It was really the perfect 5th pick. They needed tower damage, they needed some more control, and they really needed help in lanes. And you can't support Clock and Bounty.
SRF, Cogs, pushback. Actually buys them enough space, and no chilling touch bonus for Mystery to get that last attack into him. So a much needed Cogs, and here we go once more. This time it's going to be crit. They tried to space it out so they wouldn't all get hit by the stun. And, well, 2 out of 3, but they still get it. And this means more bounty runes as well coming the way of IG.
Yeah, Baboka skilled Shuriken for that, so he's actually he gets the kill, and he's going to buy a bottle with the gold, which I like, because otherwise he'd have to run all the way back to base.
Well, it's the bounty hunter, right? You hunt the bounty runes, you're always going to get the 2 bottle charges. And he still needs to make more influences around the mid. Fear hasn't had the easiest time of his life. XSS is slowly progressing forward in the levels, so it's a 6-5 for Fear in the CS versus the 11-7 of the OD. And Fear's being pushed further and further away from the wave 2, so this is not his ideal position. The best lane for EG is most definitely the top. Morphling 21-12 as far as the CS against the 6-7 of the Clockwork.
And this is what we were talking about while the draft was going on. Clockwork can't really lane very well at all against Morphling, but they needed him to be a core, I think, in this game. So it's better for their lineup, but this does mean Morphling will have nearly pretty much a free game, and that's where the Spirit Vessel comes in.
It's at least helpful the fact that Clockwork is able to get levels. Like the fact that the supports were moved off. Slardar cannot remain up on this top lane just to harass SRF out, because the more he does this, the more the Cogs burning. Crit wants to just, okay, Crit's actually farming the Cogs, that'll work. And then into Sprint, but nope. Not under Battery Assault. Would be a very difficult crush to get. Sumail, here goes your Static Link once more. Q not in range for the shackles. So Sumail backing off at the right time.
mid lane as well. You can see 7 and 5 Fear to 17 and 14 XXS. And this is the strength of this Q build. We saw Paparazzi do this yesterday. I can't remember. I think he was playing against, I want to say Alina, but I think I could be wrong. I can't remember what it was. It was some range intelligence hero. He did the exact same thing. You average, like, you get this 8 to 10 intelligence steal, and then all of a sudden you have a 20+ damage advantage on your opponent. And Fear just can't really do anything because he doesn't have enough damage.
Well, we're going again, but it's the same story. As our observer shows the wonderful circle. Just not in range. Even though you got boots from the Shadow Shaman. He's ready for the fight. He's got 2 points up in the shock, 2 points up in the shackles, and making sure that this creep wave doesn't get pulled off to the side. Misery was attempting it. But no easy life for him. And observer would. It's nicely down behind the tower. It's going to time out in about 20 seconds time, so IG may need to refresh it sometime soon. Looks like they're just searching for the Radiant Observer once first.
Yeah, I like this one. They placed up top, preventing Clock from pulling the creeps. It was really important that they placed this. They did it from smoke.
Actually, that sentry also makes sure they're not being watched on the rotation towards mid. Only downside is Fear is kind of cut through the trees on the southern side, so if Baboka wants to start this, he's sitting right on the edge of the vision of the circle, but it's enough. Here comes Q, throwing down the shackles, and there is no way to save him. Misery. You can put down the Vortex, you can attach the Chilling Touch, but there is no way that Fear can get even one attack off in that.
It's big they waste the TP as well. So down bottom now, it's just going to be a DK.
This is the dream scenario for Aggressive, because all he's got to do is do this. Static link it up. Even if Sumail wants to come back into the lane, he does 67 damage, but thanks to the static link, it's negative 52. So 15 damage to get a last hit. Yeah, good luck with that.
Even though Sumail got first blooded, he's actually just 2 CS behind Razor. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's probably also coming down to the fact that Misery was able to pull the creep wave as many times he did, and he did actually have some of that CS come in from the jungle. So net worth-wise against the Razor, he's still about 500 behind.
But he's also 1,000 ahead of Fear, which is a big issue for the CG lineup. Visage is like their key to this game, their 10th pick. You never want that hero to be as behind as Fear is right now.
Yeah. When Shaman has more net worth than your Visage, you know you've got problems. Speaking of him, wrapping around the back, and Fear out too far, no support. Even if you TP'd someone in, there's no instant disable, there's no instant control. They had to get through the 1 point in Gravekeeper's Cloak. He actually went a 3-1-1 build.
Yep, and he's just known that can really help him. That's the one downside of the AA Slardar, is neither one of them has really any turnaround potential unless they're actually diving the tower. So they can really just sit there helplessly and watch from their lanes.
The Slardar did make a lot of sense though, like with the early Bounty Hunter pickup, it's like, oh, we want to have the miss, we want to make sure that we have all the damage in the world for EG. And this is where, like, as a panel was saying, the late game is going to be really, really good for him.
Yep.
And it's just because you're able to have that amplification.
Yep. They just didn't want to put the DK middle against OD.
That smoke lasted a long time. Fear got smoked up and then he walked into Baboka.
He just needs level 6 so bad.
Where is Misery? Like, Misery's hiding back. He's trying to do a warding mission. And he just had his smoke break again from Baboka. So he's got 3 Observer wards in Misery. He wants to jump out. He knows he needs to help out mid. But again, what are you going to do? He doesn't... The cold feet, it goes onto Q. Okay, you can get a chain off this way. No defensive imprisonment available. But XSS is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. He's got the Eclipse. He'll drop it onto Misery. With Fear already down, Crit has nothing else to really save in the mid because Invictus Gaming have already done the damage.
Yep. Like, what do you do? Like, at this point, you can't really go into the Razor lane, you can't really go into the OD lane, and Baboka has been everywhere. You know, 2-0-3 has a bottle. This is the sort of game IG needed to play to win, much like Mineski did last game.
Yep. You just have to take the lanes. Get up in their faces, keep the momentum rolling forward. This will get better once Baboka hits level 6 and you got track available. And Sumail's first Dragon form we get to see is a very defensive one underneath his own tower. It's not the way you really want to play the DK when you get that first Dragon form. And Baboka and Q, they're switching the attention once more, so aggressive. You know he'll start the static link, come under the tower, Q gets the shackles coming in from the northern side, and no TP support. It's like EG are currently playing 1v1v1v1v1v5.
Should we have once again just ignored the panel?
Yeah, that's exactly what should... I told you, you gotta question it. You gotta question this panel, no doubt about it.
mean,
But it did make a lot of sense for EG there.
the one bright spot is Arteezy's morph, but he takes so long to come online. And I mean, the bright side is IG can't really push towers outside of the Rasta, so they need to continue to be methodical and acquire kills, because otherwise EG's lineup will eventually hit some timing where the morphling becomes a problem.
Yep. And they actually brought some mail to the top lane. EG have 4 heroes on top. The Clockwork is not going to oblige with a fight, and Sumail closing the distance for a Dragon Tail stun is impossible when he doesn't have the Dragon form. So Aggressive takes the bottom tier 1 tower. As you're mentioning, it's just like a straight trade-off. SRF just wants experience to get level 6 so he can do the jump in. But Baboka, Observer Ward, right on top of Fear. They just need a little bit of help to make this work. But EG's uncertain about where the fight's coming. They scan in behind the tower, but with Baboka getting in nice and close, he doesn't have any points up in the Janata, but that won't matter. With 2 points up in the Shuriken toss, the damage output is just so high that the 2 supports can kill off Fear.
Fear is not having a good day.
Yeah. He is 1,600 net worth. The bottom 3 belong to evil geniuses at the moment. Clock and Shaman, they're getting the cash. Interesting to see actually what they do as far as items go. I assume Q gets Arcane Boots just to keep this never-ending attack going. But Baboka already has the Urn of Shadows and a Haste Room bottled up.
And Ross is about to finish level 6, maybe off this catapult. Yep, he gets it. I think you just go run mid right now and drop wards. Although Birds was just picked up. Oh my gosh, they actually hit 6 at the same time. The mid Visage and the support hard 5 Rasta. And it's 5k advantage 8-0 for
And this
IG.
Observer was telling him even more. They understand the crit is sitting at 2/3 life behind the tower. So all IG have to do is close the distance a little bit. Mass Serpent Ward down on top of the tower. Shackles onto Fear. Aggressive will steal the damage, and then you got this. Drum charges up too. That shock, the burst takes so much damage. Fear, one more attack. There it comes. Shuriken toss from Baboka. The Ice Blast is nice with the Breathe Fire. Baboka will die in return, or will they? Defensive imprisonment from XSS. They have to give him a little bit more distance. It does not come. A 3-3-2 kill for Sumail. And this is creating more space for Arteezy. He's still farming up on top. Clockwork is just watching. He is a creep voyeur.
I mean, I'm surprised EG let that happen. That could have been so much worse for them. Like, they see that bottom lane gets pushed and then all 3 heroes go off map. You got to think they expect that dive, but once again, Fear goes down. Does get on the board, though, with an assist.
They'll take anything. Like, EG will take anything right now.
Thing is, it's that same concept as last game. Obviously, Mineski ran away with it, but EG really just needs one fight, and they can get it. It's just
it needs to come once the Morphling has farm. That's it. Like, because you're not going to rely on DK to get anything. Sumail's getting a Blink Dagger, so he'll at least have that initiation. But until Slaughter has 6, like he just popped dust, thinking maybe the Bounty Hunter is on top of him. But you need that corrosive haze. You need the ability to amplify up the target, so damage can actually be done.
They really need Visage involved as well. Like, he needs this HOD timing after Medallion, and then he's, like, actually a hero. But it's going to just be so far away that by then they might be down, like, 2 tier 2s.
I still don't see how they get the damage out in time.
Yeah.
Like Invictus Gaming, like even Shaman coming in, he almost killed those bears with those birds with, well, yeah, bears. Almost killed those birds with one hit. Misery should die on bottom lane. That's a lot of stolen damage. He turns for Ice Blast. There's not much more he can do apart from just chip at the Razor. But Razor won't mind. He can shrug off the ice and then use 1 charges if he wants to. Or even just, actually no, Shrine's up in 5 seconds time. So, he's fine.
Force Staff finished on OD. Bounty's level 6. Razor's going, looks like a Yasha into BKB after drums. And they smoke. I believe that was just out of range of this ward placed by EG here.
Yep. It was.
And they're going to just head straight for mid. And look at that, a ward behind the tower. They know exactly what's going on.
Look for the tracks, look for the money. Crit's going to be the first target. No way to get rid of it. And he's shackled up. The familiar birds almost stomping down. They are so low in life. Hot shot all the way through. SRF pushing Arteezy out. He goes for the Razor, so they're just dealing damage back and forward between the 2 of them. This is kind of like the stupidity battle. Who's going to put their tongue in that cold pole? Fear. There's so many tracks up. They need more of these kills. The OD drops the hammer. They just want to make sure Morphling dies, and they're able to achieve that. So Arteezy, first time involved in the fight. Fear, Shuriken toss. Bouncing money for Baboka. No one else was nearby, however, so there's no extra advantage for that. But with the Mass Serpent Wards next to the Tier 1 tower throughout that entire fight, Invictus Gaming claimed the Tier 1 tower plus the 3 kills for the Shaman.
I gotta say, I think IG takes this game now. If they don't make some egregious error, they still do get really wrecked by like some Slardar stun into AALT. But right now, like, they have all the items they need to continue the tempo. And how does EG kill them?
I don't think they can, and maybe that's also the item build that Morphling's going for. Not finishing up anything past the Perseverance, instead going for the BTs. Wow. Turning this into a split game, create as much space as possible. At least he can't be... he can't, I don't say he can't be easily killed. Like, Baboka as well as Clockwork SRF, they can catch him out if one of them gets a silence or disabled.
I am not a fan. Obviously, every game is different, but when I watch Ramsey's Miracle play this hero, it's almost always Juan treads Aquila into the Lincolns, right? It's mostly just this treads. Like, it gives you the ability to just fight as you continue to farm, but he's saying essentially, I'm not going to get involved for 20 minutes. I'm done fighting with my teammates, and I'm not sure that's going to be enough for them to win the game. Obviously, the bots are better when you have a Visage to TP into the birds, but when are they ever going to take a fight?
They're looking for one right now. EG is smoked up. They were looking for a kill onto middle. They have one Observer Ward that now gets a glimpse of Aggressive. So Crit needs to close the distance. They see him around the corner, but Aggressive, he's up on the northern stairs. They have to wrap all the way around to actually get onto him, unless Aggressive feels so confident he just goes into the lane, which he actually does. But there's so many heroes here. Bounty goes Invis. So close. Blink, stun, Ice Blast. A kill is a kill. It's not the one they wanted, but I'll take it. It was the Blink Dagger of DK they really wanted to work the timing in.
No. And
there were still 4 heroes waiting for a kill on a bounty.
To be fair, IG did rotate everybody up into their area as well, so it's not like they were ratting in the meantime or getting some objectives.
But they are taking the objective with the push on the top tower. Like, Q's got the Mass Serpent Wards up, Aggressive can stand on the front line, so if they do want this tower, they can go for it. But mid lane, pressure by EG. Draws IG's attention back to the mid lane. Drum charge. Oh, he hookshot it into the birds. Well, I suppose on the bright side, you're going to kill off both of these birds when they come back up again. That's your only bright side. There's a resummon in 6 seconds.
Still money, though.
It is still money. And Sumail. No. I'm thinking, hey, Invis Rune, this could work for something. No. It really doesn't. The line gets drawn by IG instead down towards the bottom lane, where Crit is currently just walking forward, 3 heroes involved, and yet another track kill.
And just because of the track, that's a big kill.
Yep.
Every track kill is huge. Usually a support can die, it's no big deal, but whenever track's involved, it's just demoralizing. You know, you feel like you've let your team down. Just dying is fine, but oh, they get some bonus.
He just wanted to get the Observer Ward down, I believe. Like, it would have been, what, behind the tower? Well, it's a Dire Sentry, so maybe it's even better he didn't put the ward down, because if he put it on the Bounty Rune, it would have been gone instantly. And then EG's only aggressive vision is the ward that times out in 13 seconds next to the Dire Shrine in the northern jungle.
And you can see Baboka, being a bounty hunter, can always place these really nice deep wards. There's one near the hard camp, near mid-tier 2, and then there's another one that sees both Shrine and this bottom lane. And that's just such good vision. You can see the Razor playing super aggressively. He has no fear in this area. And the only hero that has any sort of initiation or catch is the DK with the blink. Slardar should have his eventually, but he's at 700 gold, so.
They got a 3-man smoke. OD has a Blink Dagger and 4 stuff. He is itching for a kill. He actually breaks his own smoke because the creep wave's underneath the tower. Well, goodbye sentry. They saw it on the way through. That was their own sentry down, Arteezy. Can think about this fight. If the smoke breaks, Q, yep, up he goes, up the hill. Needs to get almost an instant hex. Instead, they just take the 18-minute bounty. And now Mass Open Wars to commit the top. This, actually, they don't even need it. With the Ice Blast, it might slow things down. They got a half-decent creep wave there. And yeah, they're holding him for the moment. But Sumail's triggered Dragon Form. The counter push is on in the mid. So once again, when EG's top tier 1 tower gets threatened, Invictus Gaming are having to look behind themselves. SRF right on top of the Radiant Observer Ward will get Corrosive Haste up. And goodbye.
Meantime, Arteezy just farming bot. Already has the bots, of course, and Lincoln's next item. We'll have it soon. They drop Ross towards top.
Yeah, this is nice money for Sumail. Will lose a large portion of his tier 1 tower, however, for this. but able to get the cash. Bottom lane, Banishment is up. And here comes Arteezy. Ice Blast is on the way, but the Shackles hold Morphling in position. More track kills, more movement speed. So Misery, at least the Blink Dagger's on cooldown thanks to the chilling, thanks to the Ice Blast, but underneath the Shrine, that's still not enough. You've now got 2 heroes. 4 staff off cooldown 1 second time. 2 heroes tracked up. 1 more attack with the Orb. XXS. 18 stolen intelligence. More track kills. More injection of money. And more woes for Evil Genius as the score reaches 16-3 with a 10k gold advantage for IG.
And the Razor BKB up soon. That's going to be their timing where they can just kind of make moves. The OD is going to have his BKB soon as well. Once they have those items, I actually don't know how EG even touches these heroes. Just 6 more kills for IG.
Yep. Life seems to be really easy for them. They're attacking the tier 2 tower with just the creep wave, no real pressure. But as you said, like thanks to their own observer wards that got aggressively down, they know exactly how hard EG is pushing them. But EG had their own observer ward in their jungle, and well, goodbye crit. The ping came out, the Shadow Shaman was missing, and then crit dies shortly after it.
Yeah, and I will say, the timing IG is looking to hit is going to be insane. They're going to go rush Ags on the Rasta. Bounty is going, it looks like Medallion after his Force Staff. I still want him to get Super or Spirit Vessel really badly. And then the OD Razor just going to go for BKBs.
Are you able to, like, do IG actually take Roshan? Normally this isn't the greatest lineup to do it, but can you do it without committing the mass up wards and then going into a push? Because this is the only thing I'm worried about. It's like, as far as IG goes, if EG can get into the pit, they can use the Corrosive Haze, they can use at least like the strength to tank it, and then Arteezy having some damage. Ice Blast coming towards the north, SRF gets hit by it, Battery Assault's creating a little bit of space, same with the Cogs, but he'll shatter even if they don't get the other kill. Meanwhile, Ancient Apparition, the man who threw the blast, died underneath his tier 2 tower in the bot lane. Like, yeah, how does IG approach this? If you talk about the timing, normally the Aegis Immortal is around either pushing high ground or removing these out of towers. So does Roshan come into play?
Yeah, I think so. It's like Roche and just continue to kill towers as they are. Their advantage is still increasing, not quite as rapidly as Mineski's was last game, but 12k at 21 minutes is still pretty substantial. Up top, though, huge pressure.
Yep. But aggressive TP's in on top of the tower. XSS is up here. They didn't get the denial on the tower, however.
You can see the difference in lineup, though, where IG can find kills, but they push so slowly. In the meantime, they get tier 2 bot, but they crush this top tower almost immediately as EG. And that's the HOD with the wolf. Like, that just makes this Morphling Visage Bird, Visage himself, just hit super hard.
Yeah, I'll explain why Fear's also going for the Aghanim's upgrade. It's a normal thing for the Visage, but they need more birds, need more fight, need more power. Baboka is on the hunt. He's right next to the Sentry Ward, and he didn't see the smoke of Evil Genius's 4 heroes up. They're going down to the bottom lane where the Morphling is. They scan in the trees, expecting some kind of gank from Invictus Gaming, who do have a Tinker Ward on that hill, so they can see inside the trees if that's where the fight does go off. Here comes Crit. The stun is out with a blink forward from Sumail. They get the target. It's the Razor, but not fully. Defensive Imprisonment buys a little bit more time, but it won't matter. Misery still finds the kill. Baboka visible. 4 staff down. Solo and live. But the way forward, Arteezy's attack. It does connect. And Evil Geniuses take 2 kills off the back of that smoke, and a big one too. They got the Razor. He's worth 573. Except it was Misery that got the kill.
What does he buy with the gold? He's rich.
He buys a Staff of Wizardry. So 4 staff saving against Clockwork, or if he somehow gets really lucky, an Aghanim's, but probably close.
He needs a 4 staff super bad.
Mid lane, EG. Feed into the tier 1 tower. These birds can finally start tanking stuff.
His recent, he also placed one. Nope, no, one that was there before. I thought he had placed another one out of smoke. I think this one middle was new. Yeah, he actually places 3 wards off of that smoke. And now the EG has all the vision, and IG's is actually so deep in the enemy area that it's not actually that useful. Specifically this lane ward mid and the Tinker ward. Like, that doesn't secure the area of the map like they want to.
Yep. That's why Baboka has another one on him. He's watching Fear farming in the trees. Doesn't have a lot of help. However, Seraph is not looking to fight just yet. He's still working on the rest of his items. So he's still trying to get that Solar Crest up. Has the Vanguard done, has the Hood of Defiance, so Clockwork It's quite a tanky creature when he jumps in. And Sumail having his BKB. That's the full 10-second duration 1-2 with the Blink Dagger. It's going to make him a lot stronger at the next fights. The Lincoln Sphere fully done. Arteezy rapidly approaching, potentially death. The pushback. They use the Force Staff to trigger his Lincoln Sphere so he can get the banishment off. Arteezy coming back out of it now. Actually ends up stealing the banishment, allowing the Ice Blast to connect on both XSS as well as aggressive. So this doesn't allow the Force Staff as well as Blink Dagger to work, but they keep working through the Morphling. Now he wants to try and switch around again. But how hard can Arteezy just juke this one? Wave into the trees, does have his TPs, but again the imprisonment. The rocket gave them all the vision in the world, and Arteezy is target number 1. He imprisons himself once more. How many times did he just keep doing this? Steal ability after ability. That's how long he can do it. It's over. Arteezy will die in the top trees. But Sumail taking the pressure down towards bottom. And Fear and Misery attacking quite heavily in towards the mid, but it's down on bottom. Sumail there a little bit too long. The blink from Crit wasn't deep enough. He couldn't interrupt Q, and Sumail will die. The BKB does not protect you from that high level of physical damage. Mass Serpent Wars being committed. Fear just gets the trade-off. Tier 2 tower in mid, then aggressive. Well, he's already found Misery. And, well, everything Ancient Apparition is good at, that's not one of them. BKB from Aggressive, dodging the stun from Crit, who now gets banished up. Aggressive was backing away from all the bursts, but the OD ulti, how much intel has he got? He's got 48 stolen intel. No wonder the level 2 Sandy's Eclipse just destroyed Fear. Get through the cloak, rip the rest of it. Now they look at Roshan with all of EG pushing up the daisies.
I was about to comment that EG had been catching up well in this game. Like, the advantage was only 7K. And
you shouldn't have thought it. You jinxed it.
I know.
It was a mental caster jinx.
But XXS playing super well. They make the play top, he TP's bottom, sets up on DK, they kill him through BKB, and then they immediately just cut across the map. He finds even more people. And it's just how you have to play this sort of lineup. Just continue following your bounty, play aggressive with the Razor OD, and just find kills. That's the only way you really free up objectives for yourselves.
Correct. You can't do anything about that. The TP up towards the shrine comes way too late. The Ice Blast gave them the information they wanted, but Aegis is the immortal in the hands of the Outworld Devourer.
And the issue with Morphling is that even when he gets this E-Blade, I still think he needs a BKB to be able to actually fight.
God, yeah, he needs that. There's an Aghanim Scepter done in now. Now, it's actually, you can come on the courier to the Shadow Shaman. A little bit of like inefficiency with the courier, but it brought the Blink Dagger. Actually, what's that? The Blink Dagger Slaughter. And actually bring anything down. It was picking up the extra item for the OD, who now has the ultimate ult mid lane. Get my Bounty Hunter. Whenever you're aggressive, you can walk under sentries.
So there is an Ags on the roster.
Yeah.
It's go time. Yeah. Perhaps. I think next Aegis is...
So you've still got it on the OD.
This Aegis,
so
yeah, wow.
This
Sorry,
Aegis.
long day.
Yeah, it has been.
I thought I went to sleep and he had lost it, but nope, it's still there. He has BKB as well, so they're at this position where they just want to initiate and go, probably on anybody but the DK, or they try to go for him before the BKBs pop, but it's really just Visage still. You get the Visage, you get the Morph.
The only way to really go on him before the BKB gets popped is if Clockwork can hook, but Shaman still needs to be close. The downside about not having Blink Dagger Shaman.
Yeah.
That like he's the only instant disable they've really got. And you're never really going to count like Blink Imprisonment from XSS. That at least allows you to reposition against the Morphling.
I like the decision though. I think that their timing to win the game is in the next 5-10 minutes or so. And if they can just grab one pick and then posture around wards placed on high ground, it's going to secure the racks for sure.
Can Shaman survive the E-Blade pop? Arteezy can now afford the full E-Blade, so Shotgun versus 1575 health on a Shaman. Can you crunch the numbers in your head? It's been a long day. I know it's a hard ask.
Do I have to?
I'm happy. No. We can use a physical thing. Let's just say he maybe can survive. We'll go with that. Because Arteezy still doesn't have a lot of agility behind him just yet. So they can look for the kill.
Oh, here's the smoke.
Yep, they want to fight. Arteezy wants to find a kill, but it's IG who will find Fear. Baboka gets the track up and running. These familiars drop down, hook shot from SRF. He'll actually keep him out of the fight. EG cannot help Fear because the Cog's positioning on the hill is just too good, and they get both of the familiars as well. So Arteezy just BT's bottom lane and starts the split push.
Fear is not having fun in this game.
Actually, does he? Yeah, he's actually got to keep pushing this. They scan on the side, they realize no one's there, but with the Mass Serpent Wards, IG's objective is very, very clear. Fear is down, you push mid. You want this tier 2 tower gone and potentially even tier 3, but with the speed... Oh, wait, he drops it already? Okay, with the speed of this now, Arteezy... Yeah, you see Shaman, he drops the ward so he can TP bottom to defend.
Yeah, I mean, as long as EG continues to play with confidence, like, it's 24-7, it feels like a really grim game, especially for Fear, but 10,000 gold was the advantage, what, like 10, 15 minutes ago?
Yeah.
It's the exact same, and just because...
The only thing which is kind of switching is the experience. That's going a little bit further in favor of IG.
They're just not out of it on EG. You really just need a Roche, like, and maybe stop feeding a little bit, but you're in a good spot. But look at these wards placed by IG. This is a lot of map control. These 2 wards in the center. Oh, sorry, just the 1 ward. I thought there was one under the wards.
That top ward's going to time out in about 5 seconds' time, but they do have that good ward on the southern side, just between the tier 3 towers on the mid and bot lane. So that's a nice way to go. Arteezy and aggressive. It's almost cruel to compare the 2 of them at the moment, but actually they're not that far apart. It feels like their teams are further apart than these 2 heroes. But they're very close to each other. Fight's going to begin up on top lane. Baboka walks in close. Fear is such bait. And the crit. Jump in from the side, working with Samel, combining with the Ice Blast. XSS gets 4-staff down. He will, however, pop, but it's the Aegis Immortal. Back to the world of living. BKB aggressive. Couldn't tank all the physical damage, but XSS drops the hammer. Everyone is bone dry in mana for Evil Geniuses. Arteezy still wants to try and fight. Waveforming forward. He's got the E-Blade pop, but who's going to be the target? Clockwork is going to be that man. The first one to really die here, if we don't count the Aegis Immortal. Q stunned up the Haze, giving them all the information they require to keep the chase going, but it's Clockwork and Shaman dying. EG would really like more cores to kill here. Baboka, well, there's an option. They can't see him. He's in the trees. TP just got switched out of the backpack, and Baboka, 4-staff, deepeted the TP out.
I feel like we saw this game yesterday where there's a Clockwork core, and eventually that hero falls off. Whereas in the meantime, you have 3 cores on the side of EG.
Well, it was a nice bounty rune. Track. Yeah, she starts with the hit, then into the track. Crit can pick up the secondary bounty. But that's still a level 2 track with 3 heroes being involved for IG.
But look at the gold advantage, man. 7,000 at 31 minutes is really nothing. And next item, you can already see it queued up. It's BKB for Arteezy, and that was the item we said. That's what allows them to fight.
Yes, okay, so you got multiple BKBs. He said for Arteezy, you got his coming in. You've already got DK with Halbert, BKB, and Blink Dagger. So
huge item.
Yeah. Because no one's a natural MKB builder over on Invictus Gaming, and also having that disarm as the BKBs, which were pretty early in for IG, like are going to start to wear down in time. You got 7 seconds on the Razor, 9 seconds on the OD.
You can see XXX choosing to go for Sheep instead of Shivas. I like that choice. It's more aggressive.
Smoke pop. Okay, yeah, sorry, you could keep going.
It's good. Shivas is more about vision than anything else, and obviously a defensive tool, but since they have Bounty and Clock, they have plenty of tools for this OD to find people, and you can just blink in, Hex, BKB, find to kill immediately. Specifically on our Tor's Morphling, where...
As opposed to the blink in and then have to wait as Astral Imprisonment finishes his job.
Yeah.
And you've got, yeah, as you said, like 4-staff, which can break the Lincolns.
Yeah, another new ward placed mid by Baboka.
Arteezy's got his BKB now. So they need that Hex. And we see, like, it's Arteezy. Like, I don't know if you can get that timing right where you can you can trigger Lincolns and get the Hex on him before he can pop the BKB. This will have to be very, very fast from IG. Or have some level of like coordination between Baboka. Maybe he tracks or uses his own 4-staff to trigger the Lincolns.
Yeah, it'll be difficult if he gets his BKB off first, though. Then they really can't cancel it with anything.
You have to disengage, right? That's it.
It's such a good Lincoln's game. The track, the link, the Rasta spells, the OD.
EG finally revealed themselves in mid. They were hiding up a little bit. Invictus Gaming were almost preparing for a northern assault.
Yeah, Roche spawns in 1 to 4 minutes, so that's going to be the next objective for these teams to play over. Almost 35 minutes, still just a 7k lead for IG. Surprised Sumel has found so much farm on the map. Nearly 14k now worth. He's like 2k behind OD, and it feels like he should be way further behind considering the score of the game and the hero that he's playing.
Fear was able to keep that bottom lane push at bay with the dominated up Sata. So That's a nice, easy farm. That's why he was actually, like, when he got hit by the Clockwork Rocket, he just stood still for a second. I'm like, okay, what is he up to? What is he looking at? And it was the creep wave and a half pushing him bottom.
Roche, we're going to get the Roche timer for real in about a couple seconds.
Yeah. Even a double damage rune right in front of the pit. Dream right now for both these teams to grab the DD and get into Roshan, but it's a minute and a half before Roshan will spawn. Alright, so double damage rune. Arteezy will grab it. There is no Roche. Easy to scout out for IG just because they got Clockwork Rocket. Baboka is watching bottom lane, trying to have a crack at Misery.
He doesn't solo kill him. Yeah, there's the AL playing out.
It's hitting top lane, so they're trying to push the wave out instead.
I will say, I really think this lack of super earn has punished IG significantly. I can't believe they still don't have one. The Bounty choosing to go for a... He's going Lotus now, but he went Force and Solar Crest before finishing super earn. And there's a Medallion on the clock already, who's also going Lotus Orb.
How long can Baboka sit down here? It's like he's not really achieving much apart from leeching experience from the wave.
I don't know if he needs anything. They have vision control middle, and they know EG is like making moves around the map, so there's really nothing better for him to do. It also allows them to scout out when the AA ult is flying out, which can usually give them a tell on whether EG is near them or not, based on the smoke. And you can see EG plays 2 good wards.
He's waiting for the courier now. He could potentially courier snipe 4 staff away, but they don't have vision to see when the courier's coming back. Only out. Man, EG are in like full defense mode around Arteezy. Just let him farm, let him get bigger. IG are doing the same kind of thing. 4 players hold each other's hands and wait for the right moment, wait for the right opportunity to initiate. Baboka's not giving him enough information to do so, however.
This is the thing, though, is that EG's lineup wants this. They want a 5-man. They want to just continue to accelerate. IG need to get kills. The Razor OD are not real true carries. They don't accelerate that much anymore.
How do you start this? Like, it's not like IG can say, hey, we're doing Roshan, everybody come in. Actually, maybe they can do that. Like, if they can get inside the pit and use it as bait, like, don't actually begin Roshan.
Maybe, but it's just so hard. There's so much vision from them. They have birds, they have AA vortexes and ulti and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. 4-star just got completed up for Slaughter too, so double 4-stars for the supports of Evil Geniuses. They got ways to battle around the clockwork.
I think if you're EG, you feel fine about this. They're going to smoke. Roche is up.
Do they just slip in the pit and do this? Or do they still want to fight first? Actually, no, they can't just slip in and do this because the Clockwork Rockets will always scout it. So EG, the line is drawn. That's down from Misery. Wrap around the back. SRF is farming Ancients at the moment. That's not where you want to be. The Observer Ward reveals his position. They know exactly where he is, but they don't go for him. They want the bigger targets. In towards the mid lane, but aggressive. Got the BKB up before Critical Connect. XSS wants to come in, try and help out, but now he's in trouble. Doesn't want to use the BKB. The 4-star gets him out of range, and Ancient Apparition falls down. Q, too much damage from Arteezy and Samael, who are just way too big, but now it's the OD's turn. He wants to keep the fight going, helping out his Bounty Hunter. Drops the hammer. Arteezy, man, he did so much damage. Even when all the mana was burnt off, Arteezy is still a beast, looking for the Bounty Hunter. There's your pop. Arteezy with a double kill, gains over 1,000 gold just for those 2 kills. And Invictus Gaming have 3 heroes, about to become 4 heroes, dead without buyback. SRF dies to the Soul Assumption.
Yep. This
is the fight that EG wanted more than anything else, and IG feared more than anything else.
Dude, and it's just because it's, again, this Tricore. You have both supports with heavy amounts of damage amp and the AA Slardar, and then Visage, TK, Morphling are all at a point where their core items are up. Like, Visage is killing everybody. He's going to have, it looks like, a AC really soon.
Really feels like IG lost the window.
Yeah.
Like, they never were able to force it. They were too busy looking at other lanes, and and now you wonder, like, you're in full damage control. You feel like you've lost the window. Can you even force this? You're against both Aegis as well as Cheese.
And I think it's all, you can see even the little decisions they make, like dropping wards on the tier 2. They can threaten tier 3 there. They have Ags. Like, what's the point of getting Ags and then not looking to utilize it? Felt like they took so long to even do the first Roche.
They lost the gem as well. That was on the Bounty Hunter. Arteezy. God, this has to feel so, like, so much like bait. RTZ's up so far, and they trade the Lincoln Spear. They need this quick, very, very quick kill. Aggressive, protected by his BKB, but RTZ starts the strength morph. They've already killed the Bounty Hunter. Wait for the BKB to go. There it goes, and goodbye, aggressive. No defensive imprisonment's nice, but the Hawk into the back. Slaughter was able to get the nice crush off, and this is full retreat for Invictus Gaming. They cannot repel firepower of EG's magnitude. Way far forward. RTZ's looking for more. At least SRF can get something on the sidelines, but they're going in deep. They want the big prize. The OD is down. Shaman will join him. And Clockwork is the sole survivor who TP'd out, but EG will come high ground. 4 heroes without buyback, 3 of them for over a minute on those countdowns.
And they still have Aegis.
Yep.
EG got their core items, and then they hit the timing that they were waiting for a very long time.
GG, they called already.
Wow.
The first Rax doesn't even have to fall. Evil Geniuses, they knew they won. IG knew they lost the second that Roche fight went, well, pear-shaped.
And I think you see the difference between playing to win and playing not to lose, because IG took their sweet time, and the bus left without them.
You know, that's actually one of those fun games that seems to keep happening in this current patch, where the team with the most amount of kills doesn't actually win. Like, it was 27 kills for IG, 17 for Evil Geniuses. Yeah. They never allowed the snowball, of course, because they just tapped out saying, yeah, we know we lost. Like, there is no way back from this. Yep. But that's, yeah, still rough.
Yeah, and they just had to find windows. Like, EG didn't give them a free opportunity, and that's something I'm very happy to see, because EG wasn't playing this crisp until very recently, and they might have just given IG like that free Roche, the free tier 3, and instead they were always pressuring other lanes, forcing IG to make decisions, maybe play too conservatively, and then all of a sudden they win that one fight. That's game. Yeah,
so it works for EG. They can show us that they can weather the storm of the IG lineup and have that nice matchup against Maneski tomorrow. Cannot wait for that. But before we wrap up our day and get to tomorrow, we have the panel.
Thanks very much, Toby. Yes, thanks to all our commentary teams today on both streams. That is it as far as the matches are concerned. We're going to break down that match and also take a look at both of the group's results today and show you the updated standings. Gents are arms in arms right now on the panel, breathing a sigh of relief.
It was a close one, boys.
No, it was exactly how you called it as well, though.
We almost went 6-0, 0-6 together. Jesus Christ.
That was tough, but it was exactly how you all said it would go. Like, it had to be an early game by IG. It was. They dominated the early game. They got to the mid game, and it still looked okay. It still looked doable because EG weren't quite on the ball. Well, but then it just fell apart, and that was kind of what you were all saying, wasn't it? It was going to fall apart at some point in the late game.
EG could have played better early game. I would still go for their draft, no matter who played 10 out of 10 times, probably. The problem was the itemization in this game for pretty much both of the teams. If you take a look at the items, like Morph goes for Boots of Travel. I'm the biggest Boots of Travel hater, especially when you're losing the game. It took people a lot of time to realize how to play Phantom Lancer. Before, let's say 6 months ago, people were picking Diffusal Blade into Boots of Travel, one of the most useless builds that I ever seen. Then you go for a Manta style and you practically do nothing. So you have a Bounty Hunter who refuses to go for Spirit Vessel. Like, you're playing against the Dragon Knight and the Morphling. That's the best item you can get. So he decides to skip it. Even though with all the advantage that they had at the start, they had 10,000 gold lead and probably 5,000 experience lead. The itemization was really not on point. Also, no tower damage. Besides Rasta wards, they can't kill. If they don't drop the wards, they can't kill the tower. That's the thing.
That fight bottom was kind of the beginning of the turning point. They probably saw that Razor had a BKB, but they knew they could chain their stuns together and blow them up. So we talked about kind of IG had dominating lanes and they had to win from that. One key to this draft as well is that they don't really have someone that can start fights on their terms. Until the OD gets a Hex, it's pretty much only the Clockwork, which isn't the best for initiating and being able to start the fights that they want. So that being the case, EG just split pushes all the lanes. They themselves can set up kills from anywhere with that AA Gradually, they start to get farmed and they start to be able to fight IG's lineup because of IG's very weak team fight. So they can't take fights on their terms, and their team fight doesn't hold up once EG begins to scale. And that was basically the story of this game. They could not make any mistakes or lose any fights, and at some point they did.
That was actually the reason I'm going to disagree with you, Lacoste. I was actually fine with the Winds of Travel solely because of the fact that Evil Geniuses was so far behind at that point in time that they did have to fall back on it entirely a split push game. And I did think that they split pushed very well. Evil Geniuses just made sure that there was never an opportunity for IG to be able to go for the high ground for those objectives. I mean, to be honest, this is just the Chinese playstyle that we were talking about where they're far too conservative. They're not willing to take risks. And if you're not willing to take risks, then against the best teams, you're just going to lose eventually because they will either have a better read of the game than you, or they will be willing to take those risks that will change the game somehow. And here I feel like IG, they lost multiple opportunities to be able to do an early Roshan with the Serpent Wards. I felt like every time the Serpent Wards was up, they should have been telling themselves, all right, next objective, next objective, next objective. But instead, the Tier 2 stayed up for a really long time. They weren't able to get any Roshans in there. And at the end, it was just like, well, you've drawn the game out to the point where now Arteezy is finally completed his farm and he can take you guys on in team fights.
It's one of those rare examples, or not so rare examples, that if you're a casual viewer for Dota or you've just tuned in because it's a major and you're interested in the game, great, love to have you with us. You look at the scoreboard and you think, wow, how did Evil